We can have a clap now, Richard. Action.
It's that time of year again, the Bloomberg annual mince pie test, and I'm here at the Duck and Waffle, 40 floors above the City of London, with the chef Daniel Doherty. Do you like mince pies?
You know what, I do like a mince pie. I think at Christmas it'd be rude not to have one, or 10 as we're about to try now.
And you make them as well yourself?
We do, we make them every year, you know, more of a petit four style, sort of bite size, but
Do
for me,
people like them?
they do. I mean, you know, it's like anything, food is very subjective. Some people love them, and it's almost like Marmite, and others don't. So
Now what about this one? It's a monster, isn't it?
it is, it's dramatic. It's probably the most impressive looking mince pie I've ever seen. Mine don't look like that. Shall I cut this open?
Please.
Good crispy pastry. That's a lot of fruit. See,
Generous, isn't it?
It is generous. I'm quite big on the fruit to pastry ratio, and I think for me that looks quite fruit heavy. I'm not going to lie. Would you like to try? Do I just go all in?
Wow.
It's very fruity. I enjoy the pastry, but it's quite a lot of filling in there.
How's the
You
spice?
can see. It's actually quite sharp as well, I think. Quite a lot of lemon. Mixed peel, I think it is. It gives it that real...
Do you find it too heavy?
For me personally, there's just too much fruit in there. It's overpowering. The pastry's really good, but it kind of gets lost. I mean, it's beautiful, thin and crisp, but then you look at all that fruit inside and there's a bit of a shame, really.
What do you think? How many marks out of 10?
Out of 10, I'm going to say 5, I think.
Right. Yes.
So how should we do this?
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, we'll just keep going. Richard, we're just going to keep going now.
Okay.
Let's just keep doing it. Okay, so we're going to need one more clap.
Right.
And again,
What do you think of this one?
So this is number 2. I guess by looking at it, it looks a little bit more familiar, unlike the last one. I quite like the caster sugar on top as well. It's a nice little touch.
It's very neat, isn't it?
It is very neat.
Well, it's not a lot of fruit, is
It's
it?
not. I mean, being as I'm not
Thank you.
a big fruity mince pie person, it's probably more up my street. That's a good mince pie. It's almost floral. Really nice, really crumbly pastry.
It's rich.
It's almost like a shortbread pastry. That's my kind of mince pie, that is.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm gonna go big on this. This is a 9.
Really?
Yeah, that's my cup of tea.
That one's from Fortnum and Mason.
I'm glad you said that. Not Iceland or somewhere.
Shall I take it?
Yeah. It doesn't matter if the plates are dirty, does it?
Thank you.
We're allowed to say brand names if I'm comparing it to stuff. Is
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
Daniel, sorry, can I get you to remove your glass of water just a little bit away from it?
Only thing is, don't say this is number 3 or whatever, because they're not
Okay.
going to show it in order.
Okay. Okay, so next we've got...
Are we up?
Are we in? Sorry. So yeah, this one looks, again, very familiar. Almost like a Mr. Kipling design on top.
Yeah, a little sprig of holly, is that?
Yeah, looks very well produced.
Does that mean machine made? Or?
I think so. Yeah, it's a little bit too perfect, I think. I think the good thing about a mince pie is it should be a little bit rough around the edges and a bit uneven.
Like us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's not good.
What's wrong with them?
The pastry almost tastes stale. It doesn't taste fresh, and it's not crumbly. It kind of sticks in your teeth a little bit. The fruit's just doesn't taste very.
It's
It
an
doesn't taste very nice.
odd flavour, isn't it?
Yeah.
Totally odd.
Kind of black. It's almost like they've been left out a few days.
No, they
The
haven't.
reindeers. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of that one. I'm going to say a 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was going to say quite low. It's not really good. Don't say that was. Where was that?
Iceland.
Yes. It's always good to slate off the big brands.
Sorry, can I swap?
You can do that if you like.
Let me sit down.
Good. Okay, so now we've gone on to another one that also looks very prim and proper, which is always concerning, I think, with a mince pie.
Yeah?
Yeah, go for it. It's much better than the last one, but it still does taste like Mr. Kipling kind of. And I guess the way it's very hard to articulate, but it just tastes a bit samey. Like it is fruity, pastry's okay, but it doesn't taste that real. You can't taste the butter in the pastry. Let's put it that way.
It's not got a lot of flavour, has it?
No, it hasn't. That's what I mean by samey. It's just kind of a bit. That the one we tried that kind of got a 9. That one was a really. You could really feel the buttery, crumbly pastry, whereas this is just a little bit tired looking.
Would you like more alcohol in it?
Personally, well, if it has more alcohol and it's been marinated for a long time, it does help bring all the flavours together. As long as you don't taste the raw alcohol, I don't think that's very pleasant. When you taste, when it's been kind of stewing and marinating and macerating, I guess is the right word. That adds to the flavour. But when it just tastes of brandy or something, that's a bit much.
I like brandy.
Yeah, me too. Wouldn't mind a glass now.
How many marks out of 10?
For me, that's another 5. It's okay, we can just switch to it. There's loads of spare parts. Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so
How's it look?
we've got a snowflake on top this time. I think it's interesting all the different Christmas pictures people, or the characters almost that they associate with Christmas. We've had holly and snowflakes. Pastry looks good.
Thank you.
Again, it's a more traditional tasting mince pie, so much better pastry. Filling is a bit weak, but I don't think a mince pie should ever be subtle.
No.
You want to pack a punch, but
There is some booze in there, isn't there? Do you think?
I think there is, yeah, but I can taste more raisin than anything. Don't really get any of the other, like clove or cinnamon, the other kind of allspice, the usual suspects that you find in a mince pie.
What do you think about the overall standard so far?
Kind of been a bit like that. It's a bit up and down. I think the first one of them is really still excelling, compared to the other one. Really does stand out. The others are okay. This is okay. I'd say this is a 6.
Okay. Good.
So,
Oh no.
are we good? So
Right.
this is an interesting one.
It's a mini one, isn't it?
It's a mini one, but it's also not traditionally. It's not a complete pie. So I
No.
think traditionalists would probably disqualify it. I think it's quite nice. I think it's nice to have the pastry on the bottom and the sides, and then you have that kind of almost like a crumble on top. So for me, I'm pro this. I'm not.
It looks good.
It does look good, and it's more manageable,
Thank you.
and it's really crisp. It's almost like a little mini tartar citron on that kind of pastry. That's good. Very sweet pastry, but
Very.
sweet pastry.
I was going to say, do you think it's too sweet?
It is until you get to the filling, when it counters it. But that's a good pie. And like I say, you know what? I think it is refreshing to see different shapes and styles because, it's nice to see new things. And
The ingredients taste good, don't they?
that's quality, that is. It's really good. That's an 8.
Great.
Yeah. Straight in at an 8, yeah. Finished it as well. It's always a good sign, isn't it?
honestly. Now that almost looks handmade, doesn't it?
It does look handmade. I mean, it's a fine line between looking artisanal and handmade and also looking... It's probably the least appetizing one we've seen.
I was going to say which side's it for, but it falls the
I think it just... Yeah.
I like that. I can imagine buying that at a Village Fete or something.
Yeah, and that, you know what? You're right.
Thank you.
It doesn't look very nice today. It looks very... There's a lot of space in there, you know? But kind of almost mushy and a bit dry, which is straight. Normally that filling is so much... When you've got the balance of the sugar and the liquid, you get that kind of beautiful gloss, and that doesn't...
I can't taste much at all. I can't. It's not spiced much, is it?
No. I think the pastry's got a nice buttery taste, but the filling's awful.
I can only taste the pastry.
Which just goes to show how bad a mince pie it is, because really, as nice as the pastry is, I think it's a mince pie, not a pastry pie, you know? So I'm going to say a 4 for that.
4 for Selfridges.
Is it Selfridges?
You inventors will have you.
There goes any work with them.
And this one's coming up is Tesco.
Okay.
So,
Well, of all the ones that have looked very neat, this is probably the neatest. You look at the intricate design there, which isn't a compliment. I do think that's been waxed through a few machines. Yeah. Although, you know what, it doesn't look that bad, to be honest. It's following from the last one, I think.
it's a bit more generous, isn't it?
It is a bit more generous. I have a feeling that that's not from a small artisanal shop. However, it does taste good. So,
You think not a small store, not a tiny...
no, I think it's from... I think this is quite a mainstream shop.
You don't think this is from a farmer's market or...
No.
Well,
My mum hasn't made that, let's put it that way. But you know what? It's not bad. So I'm going to say 6.
6 for Tesco.
There you go. I knew it. I knew it. It was just too perfect. So,
Next one is Starbucks. Excuse my fingers.
looks a bit more rough and ready, doesn't it? The way a mince pie should look. Quite a pale filling.
Yeah, it looks a bit not very filled over there either.
No.
In fact, look, there's a big gap under here.
Very sweet pastry again. That's the icy sugar on top, doesn't taste bad though.
It's not bad, is it?
No. It's much more, it's less kind of tangy than the others. But you can see that in the colour of the filling. It just hasn't had all that time to, it hasn't had enough time to kind of marinate together.
It's quite moist as well.
It is quite moist. And it's not a bad pie though. I do enjoy the pastry. I'm going to say 7 for that. I'm dreading knowing which one it is actually.
Starbucks.
Oh, okay.
Shall I give you that plate?
Thank you, Richard.
Thanks. No, on to... Oh, yeah, yeah, good point.
I feel sick.
7 today,
I had 3 on the balcony, and then probably I'd say 3 or
we've had-
4 into if you add it
I
all
think we've
up.
had 9.
Are you serious? Wow, you're going to get the last one.
Is this the last one?
Yeah.
Have some water.
I've had some.
Oh, on the 6th. So how's that look?
I think that looks like a real mince pie. I think that's the one that's looked more, when I think of a mince, when I picture it in my head, that's what a mince pie looks like to me.
It's a nice colour as well, isn't
It
it?
is a beautiful colour. It's almost, pray to God that this isn't from Netto or somewhere. It's a little bit dry in the middle,
Yeah, a bit hollow as well,
A
isn't
bit
it?
hollow as well. It's been a bit of a consistent theme, though, hasn't it?
Yeah, they're getting stingy with the fillings.
Must be costs. It's a good mince pie, though. It's almost like there's a subtle flavour in the pastry.
Yeah.
Almost orangey. I wonder if they've flavoured it, but
Yeah.
that's a good mince pie, though. I'd say that's a good 8.
Hey, that's Waitrose.
Yeah,
That's
this
very
is-
good, actually. It's-
Waitrose just seem to nail everything they do. And is that Heston Waitrose, or is that
No,
just
it's a
a normal?
bog standard Waitrose.
It's a good pie. It's good. I'd be happy with that.
Thank you.
Okay, that's the 10.
So we just need to
Do we
conclude.
know what won and didn't win or whatever?
Fortnum's. It was the number 9, Fortnum's.
Fortnum's was the top one, wasn't it? I'll have to go and get that.
That's second, number 8.
This is a joint second, I think. This with the small Peyton, I think, was it?
Okay, shall I get those pies?
You know what the top 3 were?
Fortnum, Waitrose, Peyton.
Well, is there what about just a brief chat, you know?
All right, shall I get the 3 pies and just put these are the 3 winners?
Yeah.
If you excuse me a second.
What's the favorite? This is
Fortnum's.
Sarda?
Maybe wipe the table.
How did you like that one?
Thank you.
There was loads of filling. It was almost like a fruit pie. It wasn't very nice. It looked good, but it wasn't very nice.
It's fully charged.
Mine's playing around as well. I've got the same laptop.
Hi, sorry to
No,
interrupt.
it's like, it was full, so I had to delete that and start. And then it's like, I took it to
It's
Apple,
good,
and then it was working.
Okay. You're right. Can we get a little clap from you, please? Richard, Ray, you're
Yeah.
okay? You're rolling over there. One clap, please, Richard. Very good.
Right, so these are the 3 winners. You like Fortnum, Waitrose, and Peyton and Byrne. What do you think of the overall standard of the pies? Do you enjoy them?
I think there was, I'd say 30% really good, 30% okay, and 30% not so good.
I thought you'd go for the Harrods as the best.
I think the way it looked was amazing, but I think it just goes to show that sometimes it's style over substance, and you cannot beat the taste of anything. It must always taste good first. Primarily, that's the key factor, and that just goes to show, and especially in a blind tasting, I think it's quite a poignant, thing.
Now, these are shop boards. Would you serve pies of that quality in your restaurant?
We work with some very good bakers, and bakers tend to bake bread better than chefs do, and there's no difference with some of their pies and things like that. I do enjoy making them, and I do think it's people kind of expect you to make them. But why not? If someone wants, maybe in another restaurant, I would more than happily serve that quality. Let's put it that way.
What to say? Have you done these kind of things before? Do you often do these tastings?
We often do tastings like this for any new products we're going to get. So any meat supplier is great. You'll get 10 different steaks from 10 different suppliers, or maybe not just from different suppliers, but different breeds. You may get a Hereford or a Longhorn, and the same goes for fruits and vegetables. Olive oil is a great one. We're very selective on the oils we use, and there's no difference.
Now, you say you're not a big fan of mince pies. Are you persuaded at all by today?
You know what? I think so. This was the winner. But if I was going to buy a packet of mince pies to go home, it would be this one. Just because it tasted different, and it was a little bit more approachable and not so kind of heavy and rich. Whereas judging it purely on the best mince pie, this was the winner.
So that's Peyton and Byrne you would take.
Peyton
home.
and Byrne, yeah.
It's good. It looks artisan.
It does. It just looks kind of cute, right? It's next to a nice glass of scotch. I wouldn't be too upset about that. Yeah.
Or champagne.
Yeah. Well, that's
What would you serve with mince pies?
How would I serve them?
Yeah.
At the restaurant we just put them on the table with coffees. It's a nice kind of a petit four type, little small bite at the end of the meal. But it's beautiful even with some kind of anglaise custard type thing. We've crushed them up before and put them through an ice cream. That's quite nice with a shot of espresso, almost like an affogato. There's many ways you can do it.
Well, thank you very much for this. It's
Thank
great.
you for asking me. I've never eaten so many mince pies in my life.
Brilliant. Can we do the